with cybersecurity, using the same analogy, the tsunami has already hit.
The second wave may be coming.
We're underwater, and we see a bigger, exponentially bigger tsunami coming.
Yeah.
The problem is in the industry right now is the tsunami already hit, but because most of the consumers and everybody else are on high rises, they don't know it. But rest of the corporate America that are actually fighting this, but also because we work with a lot with the government agencies in the U.S. The U.S. government is the #1 attacked organization in the world. So we see firsthand what's coming down the road that's going to hit the rest of the industry.
Yes.
So what I see will keep you up at night. And what I see coming that's already hit is a massive tsunami enhanced by AI and other technologies, but also because of the accessibility of tools, which usually is a good thing, but in the cyber threat world, cyber criminals are becoming entrepreneurial, and they are not only advocating, but essentially exponentially increasing the amount of cyber criminals and their abilities out to be able to attack the environments. So if you look at the figures, we're conservatively estimating 15 trillion in losses. I don't even know how to get my head wrapped around 15 trillion in losses worldwide. On top of that, the amount of spending by corporations in cybersecurity solutions are going up exponentially as well. It's in the hundreds of billions. What's the problem? We're spending more, but we're being breached more.
Yes.
And that means that we're not doing the right things correctly, right? I see elements of AI actually being the savior as well, right? We're not being as innovative in utilizing AI as the cyber criminals have been, right? They've actually jumped ahead of us.
Yeah.
So we're playing catch up. A lot of the latest kind of technologies that you see coming out, from Darktrace to CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks, they're building AI into their engines to start to be more innovative in their detection. But that's we're coming on after the tsunami is hit and trying to mitigate that. We're looking at blockchain technologies because trust is a paramount. And now we can't trust passwords and identities anymore, right? And even the integrity of our logs, because that's getting manipulated. And that's where technologies like blockchain can come in and really give us a truly immutable and unhackable type situations that we can trust. So we need to align better with these technologies to really fight off what's already the second or maybe even now the third wave that we're seeing. And it's really daunting to see because there's not that many people that truly understand the true nature of where we are now. We're only starting to see it now because it's starting to percolate up, right?
Yes.
So there was a hack with SK Telecom in Korea. They literally hacked 50% of every SIM card in the nation.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
The whole country is in despair because now it's hit the consumer market. Elderly have to now go into and get their cell phone replaced, and they don't know what to do.
Yes.
And so it literally has now affected the consumer. And we've known this happening in isolated scenarios. When it gets countrywide effect like this, the tsunami is now percolating up into our upper floor of our ceilings. And I can tell you right now, second, third wave is even bigger.
Yeah, and even the most high up people will be hit this time.
Yes.
Oh, wow. It's interesting that while we talk technology, I think we need to be human-centric, people first.
Yes.
I think the weakest link are the people, but potentially the biggest survivor is also in the hands of the people, especially leaders. I guess for AI, it can be, as Danny said, it can be fall in the hands of the black hats, and it will cause the tsunami to build up. But there can be also be put in the hands of the white hats, the Palo Alto, the security vendor that can put the latest AI to help to protect the interests of people. But the people, I think the first is the tsunami is coming or will be coming. The warning has to be first be alert to all the people. And I don't see the alertness of the general public, particularly business leaders, that we mostly, or government leaders, have the awareness of how big the tsunami are coming. So one of my key message to all the in my class or in the consulting business or coaching business that I'm doing is let them be alert that the tsunami is real, is coming, and you need to be also let your company to have the equal level of alertness, because it's always in the cybersecurity space that Danny must the firewall or the defense is the strongest at your weakest link, and the people is usually the social engineering side is usually the weakest link. And I loved Danny to comment maybe when we see the news that the national security officer in US exchanging national information on Signal. Although Signal is relatively okay, but it's still not really the hack proof. So all this little information, maybe the password and little things, if it's falling into the black hat with enough AI technology can get enough information, maybe it can activate the nuclear button if it had enough things. So all this we need to, my point is to, first of all, is to alert all sorts of people at different levels to have the sense of urgency to prepare for that tsunami.
Yeah. Both at the government policy level and at the education and awareness level as a senior leadership. And that's where I see a lot of things that are missing. Fortunately, a lot of the governments are putting in now finally governance and laws to enforce cybersecurity reporting. Before it was self-reporting only, and so what good is that if a company decides I'm not going to report this, and why would a company report?
It's revenue impacting me. Why it's not revenue generating? Why bother, right?
Now in the U.S. and now I see other countries like Malaysia and other countries are adopting the same governance. Is that if you don't report, you're going to go to jail.
You're liable. Yeah.
You're liable, right? And so now board directors and senior leaders are like paying attention. And even early on, before these laws were enacted, they had actually, one example was the CTO for Uber actually testified in front of Senate, in front of Congress, that because they had just had a cyber breach, and then he testified that, oh no, we cleared it up. We're no longer in breach. But they found out later that while he was testifying, he knew that they had been breached again.
Oh no.
And because he was embarrassed to say that they got breached again with the same hackers, he said they didn't. As a result, because the law wasn't there in place at the time, he was put in jail for lying to Congress. So one of the now SEC provisions is, if you now lie about your breach, you're liable, and that's starting to percolate to other countries as well. That's helping the board finally pay attention and say, I guess this is something we need to take it seriously. The other thing is awareness at the senior leadership level, because what I'm seeing, and I work with a lot of the IT, the tech folks and the
CIO,
CISOs,
CSO,
they're not going to tell you how vulnerable a company is to the senior leadership and the board. They're going to tell you, hey, we're using all the products everybody else is using. What they're not telling you is that everybody else is being breached just like us.
Yes. I'm using Microsoft, I'm using Cisco.
Exactly.
But
so there's when I fill that gap and say, hey, this is the state of the industry today, and I do the board presentations, they're in shock. And so we need more awareness at the senior leadership at the board level, because they don't even know that the first tsunami has already hit, and we're underwater. But they're being told by their internal folks, we're not underwater, we're doing well. Only because they haven't been breached yet. But it's only now a matter of time, right? It's funny because when you get on an airplane, you go through all the safety protocols, and now it's the point of, put your mask on first and seatbelt. You don't think about it because it's rare that a plane goes down, and I've been flying for 20 years. I fly everywhere, and I don't even think about the plane's going to go down. Well, in the cybersecurity world, it's almost a plane going down every day. And that's what's happening. And yet we don't sense a sense of alarm.
Yes.
Right? And these planes going down isn't just a few dollars. It's sometimes 10, 20, $100 million of losses
Yeah.
a time.
Yeah.
And no one's setting up the alarm. It's like, you guys, it's just a matter of time before
Right.
your plane goes down.
Yeah.
For those of the board members who are more aware, who ask, and you're right, the team will tell you we are secured. The team will say we have deployed these. And as a board member, it is our duty to say, is it enough? And create that awareness that if it's not enough, the question a board member should always ask, it's a question of when. When we get hacked, what is our mitigation plan?
Yes.
Because being hacked is a question of value. The more valuable you are, the bigger the target you are. So it's all about honeypot, right? and on an individual perspective, the data, personal data theft, the more valuable you are as an individual, a high net worth individual, the more attractive your passwords, your credential, all will become. How are you protecting yourself? And this is one of the things that I advocate heavily on, decentralized self-sovereign identity, where your identity and all related data is sitting on the blockchain. And you are managing that on a secured blockchain. There are ways to do all of these things where you are able to make sure that only the right people hold your data. And if you don't want that data to be on that person's records or server, you have the right to rescind. So it makes the right to be deleted enforceable. Today, despite EU's best effort, GDPR hasn't fully succeeded. You still have customer data sitting on servers that has no business being there because you've already said, remove me from your database. But you can't, because in those technology level, it's not possible. So this is where the advocacy for your identity data, financial, health, and all aspects, credential, qualification, everything should sit on the blockchain where you are in full control of your own data, and that gives you a sense that you are in control of your own destiny.
I think the biggest mistake we're making, and this is the same mistake I see major companies make, and I actually saw the head of the NSA and the head of Cybercom talk at one of the internal US government conferences. He said 5 years ago, the whole cyber defense posture of the US government was block the enemy at the gate. Firewalls, more, put the moat.
Multi-layer.
Multi-layer,
Yeah.
VPNs and whatnot. And he said, today, we're trying to figure out how much of our enemy is inside our network. Right? So it's just a complete change of mindset. Except companies are still, when I talk to most corporations, we're building more walls. We got better walls.
Okay, I have to admit, I was the one selling firewall. So I was in a previous job, and that was a marketing scam because we said, oh, multi-layer, the more firewall you put in, the better, because we want to sell more firewall. But as what Danny said, the enemy is inside your gate already.
And so
Yeah.
it's that type of false sense of security thinking is what's enabling the cyber criminals to be even bolder, because they're inside your network, and the average amount of time they stay in your network is 4 to 6 months.
The sleeper, right?
Yeah.
They're literally there deploying malware, testing your
the bots,
network.
the bots to scan all your
scanning
ports.
reports.
Yeah.
And we're thinking we're safe when the virus is already inside the body,
Yeah.
searching for other organs to attack. So that's probably the biggest problem I'm seeing in industry is this, not lack of awareness. That I know IT CISOs that understand the true nature of how cybersecurity is working know this. They're not pushing that up to the senior leadership on the board because it will not be received well.
Yeah.
But we're beyond the point of, posture so that our jobs are secure. We should be thinking about how do I truly secure my company, right? And so this is where the concept of zero trust comes in. Zero trust means assume you're breached.
Assume the enemy is inside you
Enemy
already.
is inside. When
Yeah.
you think about from that point of view, you change the way cybersecurity approaches. You're looking at innovative approaches
Yeah.
using blockchain and other AI elements that says AI is really being used to detect the enemy inside.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to first assume the enemy inside before you even look at those type of technologies, right?
Yeah.
And blockchain is critical because this is the immutable technology that defies the hacking. Because a lot of the threat actors are inside, they're changing log files so to hide their tracks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Things like blockchain can make sure that those things can't be hacked, and
Yeah.
you can still detect and mitigate that. So again, it's that awareness, and
Yes.
it's amazing because I talked to the Fortune 500 companies, how little they still know about the state of the cybersecurity breach environment.